ॐ दक्षिणास्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. So in the last session we started with a new topic of sadhana chatushtaya. What is this sadhana chatushtaya? That is the fourfold qualifications which are necessary for a mumukshu to really be capable of understanding this Atmagnanam. Ultimately, the teaching of Vedanta, the teaching of Upanishads is called as Atmagnana, Brahmagnana, Atmavidya, Brahmavidya. And for this very subtle knowledge, to understand this very subtle knowledge, as I explained a few sessions ago, it is the same intellect which I am using outside for my Vyavahara also. And it is with the same intellect I have to understand this very, very subtle topic of Atmagnanam in the form of who am I, what is my real nature, what is this Jagat with which I am transacting, what is the real nature of this Jagat, what is Ishvara or what is God, and what is the real nature of this Ishvara. All these things to understand this, which is a very, very subtle knowledge, I have to prepare my mind. And this preparation of qualifying myself, qualifying my intellect, so that this knowledge becomes easily understood and easily assimilated. This is called as the fourfold qualifications, or what is called as sadhana chatushtaya. And in the last session, we saw that the fourfold qualification or sadhana chatushtaya can be named as viveka, vairagya, shamadhi shatka sampatti, and mumukshutvam. And in English also we saw we can take it as 4 Ds. What is viveka? That is discrimination. Vairagya, dispassion. Shamadhi shatka sampatti, an internal discipline. Discipline with respect to myself, my body and sense organs and the mind. Internal discipline. Shamadhi shatka sampatti. Mumukshutvam, or desire for freedom from this samsara. Now, these 4 Ds we can call as the sadhana chatushtaya. And in the last session, in great detail, we saw what is viveka and what is vairagya. The first one, which was described as viveka or discrimination, was explained as nitya anitya vastu viveka. Very briefly, I'll summarize. What it means is that everything that I experience in this life is a experiential reality. It is very ephemeral, it is limited, it is temporary. But then I know and I have heard our scriptures say that there is one particular thing, one thing which is unlimited, which is permanent, knowing which I get freedom from this samsara. And that particular thing, that vastu, or that which is infinite, that which is permanent, which is called as Satyam, or which is called as Brahman. So, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, he said. That Brahman, that Vastu which is eternal, which is not limited by time and space, that is what I need to know about. And all these other things which I'm holding on to in the Jagat outside, they're all very, very temporary, very ephemeral. They don't last with me. Ultimately, that which gives me freedom from this samsara, which I am looking for, this is my Purushartha. I have decided that I want to be free from this samsara. I want to be free from this bondage. And what is going to really help me get out of this bondage is the knowledge about this Vastu called as Brahman. And that is what is described in, in our Vedanta, in our scriptures, as to what that Brahman is. In what way am I connected to that Brahman? Am I the Jiva the same as Brahman or different? That is what I'm going to learn later. But then I should have that discrimination or the capacity to discern as to what is it that I'm looking for, what is it that I want, and what is it that I have to hold on to, and what is it that I have to give up. That is what is called as Viveka or discrimination. Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka, in which we get Atma Anatma Viveka also, which we have seen in Bhagavad Gita also. Atma Anatma Viveka in the second chapter, from the 12th verse to the 24th verse, we saw Atma Anatma Viveka. And then the second of the fourfold qualification is dispassion or vairagya. What is the meaning of dispassion? Disinterest in those objects of the world which are temporary, the entire world. There is not a single object in the world which is permanent, which is going to give me any peace, security, or happiness. And when I understand this, I develop a natural vairagya. It is a desire to give up on things which are not going to really help me and hold on to that thing which is permanent. The body mind sense complex is not permanent. Today it is there, tomorrow it may not be there. The body mind sense complexes of my close people are also very, very temporary and ephemeral. Today they are not there, today they are there, tomorrow they are not there. Any object of the Jagat, today I am having it, tomorrow I may not have it. So, this capacity to discern that I cannot hold on to this constantly slipping temporary Jagat outside me for any kind of a peace, security, and happiness. And I want to give up the emotional dependence, psychological dependence upon the Jagat. Of course, we physically have to depend on the Jagat. There is no other go. Once you are born here in this Jagat, once you have this body, mind, sense complex, it is not possible to say that I am independent, I don't need the Jagat. No, we need people, we need objects of the world, we need the situations. For our daily living, we definitely need the Jagat. But then, if that need becomes a psychological or an emotional need, when I say that I cannot do without these people, I cannot do without these objects, I cannot do without these situations. If I have to be happy, if I have to be peaceful, this has to be there. This has to be there. This kind of an emotional dependence, a psychological dependence on the world outside is what causes me bondage. And understanding this by way process of Viveka, I withdraw, I get disinterested in the world of objects. I use the world. It doesn't mean that I don't use the world. I use the world of objects. I do all my transactions. But then I understand the temporary nature of this world and don't depend on this world emotionally and psychologically. So, this kind of a disinterest where the psychological, emotional dependence on the world of people, objects, and situations gradually gets diluted, and my attention gets more and more and more focused on the Brahma Vastu, that which I have to know, which gives me freedom from samsara. This process is called as dispassion or vairagya. And as I gave the example of a marathon runner also last time, Viveka and Vairagya are both, they go hand in hand. It is not that Viveka comes first, then Vairagya comes, then Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti comes. It is not like that, because ultimately we have to understand that all these four, the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, they all go together, they all go hand in hand. So the more Viveka I have, the more Vairagya I have. The more Vairagya I get towards the world of objects, the less and less I become emotionally dependent on the world outside, more and more Viveka I have. So Viveka and Vairagya are like the two sides of a coin. And there cannot be Viveka without Vairagya, and there cannot be Vairagya without Viveka. So we saw this in the last session. And we also came to the next sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, the third main one called as Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. What is this Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti? Internal discipline, disciplining my body, mind, sense complex. I may have enough viveka, I may have enough vairagya, but if I don't have the discipline of the body, mind, sense complexes, where I cannot even discipline my sense organs, where my mind is not disciplined, my sense organs are running after objects of senses here and there, my mind is running here and there. If such a thing happens, then my viveka and vairagya are not going to be helpful. And when viveka and vairagya there are there, automatically, naturally, I start disciplining myself. Like I said, the same example of a marathon runner, he starts disciplining his body, mind, sense complex with regard to food that he takes, what he drinks, what kind of substance abuse he does or does not do, and he's keeping his body fit with exercise. Whatever has to be done for achieving that, he starts doing it. Similarly, for Atmajnanam, Brahmajnanam also, we need to have a discipline of our sense organs and the mind. And this disciplining of sense organs and the mind is called as Shama Damadi Shatka Sampatti. That means in the third main thing, in the internal discipline, there are 6 subdivisions, out of which we saw the first one last time, which is called as Shama. What is Shama? Shama means management of the mind. The mind is something which starts frittering away, it starts going here and there. And to discipline this mind, to sit for 1 hour and listen to the Guru Shastra Upadesha, to concentrate, to focus upon my object of knowledge, I need to train my mind. We did that in the Nididhyasana portion, especially in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also. Bhagavan Krishna talked about focusing the mind, Shama. Shama Damadi Shatka Sampati, he talked about there also. So, what is Shama? Disciplining the mind, Mano Nigraha, the mind which is managed in an intelligent way, not suppressing the mind. Here we have to understand Shama Dama do not mean suppressing the mind and sense organs. It means managing the mind and directing the energies of the mind in such a way that the mind does not run here and there, and the mind is trained to be silent and quiet and sattvic and focus on whatever is the subject that I am going to focus on, especially at the time of Vedanta, Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. This is called as Shama, which is nothing but Manonigraha. Then now we'll go to Dhamma. What is Dhamma? Dhamma is Indriya Nigraha. So we'll go to the 23rd verse and see what Dhamma is, what Bhagwan Shankaracharya talks about Dhamma. He says, Vishayebhyah paravartya sthapanam swasvagolake ubhayesham indriyanam sadamah parikirtitaha. So here, what he says here is that, the sense organs have a natural tendency to run towards the objects of senses in the outside world. But then, if the sense organs are running here and there, the mind also follows them. And if I have to really concentrate upon this Atmajnanam at the time of Shravanam and Mananam and Nididhyasanam, the sense organs also have to be withdrawn and they have to be kept in their own respective places. So, what he says is Vishayebhyaha Paravartya, withdrawing the sense organs. What sense organs? Both the Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas. Organs of perception, Jnanendriyas. Organs of action, Karmendriyas. Both the Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas have to be withdrawn, and they have to stay where? Sthapanam Swasva Golake. Golaka means what? The anatomical site of the sense organs is called as Golaka. Now, the eyes that you see here, they are not the Chakshu Indriya. It is the Golaka. It is the anatomical eye. So, what is there behind the anatomical eye? The capacity of vision, the samarthyam of vision is there behind the eye. That is why we may have normal looking eyes, but there may not be vision at all. There may be vision, but there may not be very normal looking eyes. So, Golakas are anatomical sites where the sense organs are posited. So, this anatomical eyes, but the anatomical eyes may be normal, but the Indriya may not be working. Similarly, ears. The ears are the Golakas for the Shrotru Indriya. So this ear, external ear, is the Golaka. It is an anatomical site behind which the capacity to hear or listen is called as Indriya. So all the Indriyas, our Jnanendriyas, what are the Jnanendriyas? We know, Tattva Bodha, we know, eyes and ears, and then the skin, touch, and then the sense of smell and the sense of taste. And all of them have got their own Swa Golakas. Of course, the skin is exposed to the outside environment all the time, but here most important thing is that the eyes and the ears have to be withdrawn from running away here and there and made to stay in their own positions. That is why Bhagwan Krishna in the sixth chapter said that may you close your eyes half, neither fully closed nor fully open. You close your eyes half in such a way that you are concentrating upon the tip of the nose. Because when our eyes are fully open, they can get distracted. Now, what can you do about the nose and the ears? The ears are open. You cannot help but listening to the sounds. You have no control over the sounds from outside. Your nose is constantly smelling when you are breathing in. You have no control over the smell that you are receiving. Taste, of course, we are not eating anything, so we can keep that organ of taste, that is the tongue, in its position. And clear, our skin is all the time exposed. If something bites me, if a mosquito bites me, I cannot help but feel it. But whatever indriyas, it is possible to withdraw them from their respective objects of senses from outside and to allow them to stay in their own places. Sthapanam swasva golake. This is called as Dhamma. Here again, we have to understand that it is not suppressing of the organs of senses. The sense organs are not suppressed here, but they are intelligently managed. And he says, Ubhayesham Indriyana means both the types of indriyas, that is the karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, are withdrawn. Unnecessary movement of the organs, karmendriyas, walking unnecessarily, moving the hands unnecessarily. So, unnecessary involvement of the karmendriyas, organs of action, unnecessarily allowing the organs of perception to go out and contact the sense objects, that has to be prevented. So, this particular thing is called as Damaha, intelligent management of the senses. That means I am the master of the senses. I, the intellect, becomes the master of the senses. I can say no to the indriya. Like when my eyes are open and looking out for things here and there, I can say no. The eyes have to be in their golakas and the eyes cannot run behind the objects of names and form. Similarly, the ears may be listening, but I am not going to give any importance to those sounds. See, it is like supposing I have a bucket and the bucket has 5 holes in it. And if I pour water in it, what is going to happen? It is going to just run out of each hole. And the energy or whatever is there inside in the form of water is going to completely get run out. That is what happens when I have the indriyas, allowing them to go and contact their object, respective objects outside. And when I don't have a proper indriya nigraha, all my energy, my mental energy also gets drained out like different 5 or 6 holes in a bucket, water getting drained out. That's what happens. Therefore, Shama and Dhamma are very important. One thing we have to understand here, for Dhamma, you require the will. The mind and the intellect willfully have to sort of control. Control means not subdue, but nigraha has to be done willfully. The mind and the intellect are actively involved in keeping the sense organs in their places and not allowing them to unnecessarily involve themselves in things outside. Whereas when it comes to shama, mind control, it requires maturity. The mind running about here and there, it requires maturity. And from where does one get this maturity? From viveka and vairagya. When I have sufficient viveka and vairagya, I have got the maturity of the mind, so that the mind knows that it cannot go here and there, and it has to concentrate upon whatever is the job at hand it has to do. And that mind which is having shama has to in turn control the indriyas. Control means it has to see that these indriyas are not all the time running after their respective objects. So this is called as the dhamma. Then in the next one, we have what is called as the uparama. In the verse 24th and 25th and the main book, you will find what is the meaning of uparama and titiksha. So six of them are there: shama, dama, uparama, titiksha, shraddha, and samadhana. These six are the six subgroups of the main third sadhana chatushtaya. What is the third one? Shamadhi shatka sampatti. So we saw shama, we saw dama. Now let us see what this uparama is and what titiksha is. The two are dealt together in the next 24th and 25th verse in the three lines that we are going to see. बाह्यानालम्बनं वृत्तेः येषोपरतिरुत्तमा सहनं सर्वदुःखानाम् अप्रतीकारपूर्वकं चिन्ताविलापरहितं सा तितिक्षा निगद्यते. Here, Bhagwan Shankaracharya is talking about Uparati or Uparama, both mean the same, and Titiksha in the same verse. Now he says, what is this Uparati or Uparama? We said that withdrawing the mind from the objects of the world outside is called as Shama. Withdrawing the sense organs from the objects of the sense organs from the outside world, and sthapanam swasva golake, keeping them wherever they belong, it is called as dhamma. That's what we saw. What is uparama? Uparama is not allowing the withdrawn mind and sense organs to keep going out again and again. Let me, every time, like in sixth chapter itself, Bhagwan Krishna says, shanaihi shanaihi uparamet. The sense organs, though shama is there, though dama is there, the tendency of the sense organs and the tendency of the mind is to again and again and again go out. All of us have experienced this during meditation, isn't it? When we sit for meditation, initially for a few minutes there is enough of shama, enough of dama. Just a few minutes and the sense organs are running here and there, the mind is running here and there. Not even 5 or 10 minutes we are able to do our japa properly, because it is the natural tendency of the sense organs and the mind to go out. What do I do? Very lovingly, very slowly, I have to bring back the mind and sense organs again and again and again as they try to go out. So shama dama is not one time process. It is not that once shama is there, the mind is going to stay put there. No, it will not happen till I get used to properly, till shama and dama become very, very natural to me. Till then, the mind tends to go out, the sense organs tend to go out. And every time the mind goes out and the sense organs go out, I, the intellect, have to bring them back. Shanaihi, shanaihi uparamet. Slowly, slowly, lovingly, not with force, because forcefully I cannot bring the mind and the sense organs back. Very, very slowly, shanaihi, shanaihi uparamet. So he says that bahyan alambanam vrittehe means the thought process, the thoughts of my mind are all the time trying to go out and get attached to the objects of the outside world. Whenever the mind goes out, Whenever the sense organs go out, very, very slowly, very lovingly, without using any force, I have to bring them back to my focus, wherever I'm focusing. This is like a small child. You can take this example. A small 2-year-old or 3-year-old child is sitting in the mother's lap, and every few seconds it gets up and tries to run out. And what does the mother do? The minute the child gets up and tries to run, the mother holds the child back and puts it back in her lap. It won't sit there for more than a few seconds, or maybe maximum 1 or 2 minutes. Again, it starts trying to run. Again, the mother has to hold the child's hand, pull the child, and make the child sit in her lap. It is like this. This intellect has to be prepared to again and again pull back the mind and the sense organs so that they are in their own places. So, Bahyan alambanam vrittehe yeshaha uparati ruttama. So, Bahya alambanam, from Bahya alambanam, from dependence on the objects of the world outside, as and when the mind and the sense organs are going out, I hold on to them. I must be alert. Here, alertness is very important. If my intellect is not alert, then I will not even realize that my mind and sense organs have gone somewhere. Maybe whole 20 minutes of japa is over. The mouth is repeating the japa, maybe upamshu japa or whatever. The mind is repeating the japa, but the mind, I mean, sorry, the organ of speech is repeating the japa, but the mind is not there. The sense organs are here and there. Many times, the whole process of meditation may be over, and later on I may realize that, my god, I'm lost. When did I get lost from meditation? When did I get lost from japa? I don't know. Somewhere in the middle I got lost, and I'm not even aware of it. So for uparati to be there, the intellect has to be extremely alert, and as and when the mind and sense organs go out, it has to be pulled back again and again and again, till the mind and sense organs are trained in being where they are supposed to be at the time of Vedanta Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. Next is, what is titiksha? He says, Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam sa titiksha nigadyate. What is titiksha? Forbearance, or the capacity to endure. And what kind of a capacity to endure what? Sahanam sarva dukkhanam. Our lives are full of contrasting situations. There are sukhas happening, there is dukkha happening. Most of the time we are dukkhis, very little time we are sukhis. And most of the dukkhas may not be under our control. There may be choiceless situations. We are not able to do anything about it. Vedanta doesn't say that you bear everything without trying to change it. No. Supposing it is very hot and there is a fan inside my room, in the name of titiksha, I need not sit in heat and sweat. It is not necessary. If I can correct a situation which is uncomfortable, let me correct it. Vedanta never says you suffer. It doesn't say that. Vedanta says try to remove the suffering, try to be happy, try to get rid of a dukkha situation. But then there are times when dukkha may not be controllable. The situations may be choiceless situations. However much we try, whatever we do, those situations may keep coming again and again. They may repeat again and again. And all that I have tried, but nothing has happened. I cannot, if I get this dukkha from my own people, maybe my own children, my own spouse, or my own family members may be giving me this dukkha. But what can I do? I cannot help it. I can try to change that person. I can try to make that person see sense and try to improve the situation so that I don't suffer. It is possible. I can do that. But there are many occasions, there are many times where the situations, because of my prabala prarabdha karma, are so strong that I cannot do anything about it. And in such situations, what do I do? What do I do? I can pray. I can pray for myself. I can pray for the other person also who is inflicting some kind of a dukkha upon me. But then, if it is a choiceless situation, what do? Sahanam sarva dukhanam. I do what I can. To the best possible extent, I try to change the situation. But then, when I realize that nothing that I am doing is helping, and this is something which I have to go through. It could be in the form of physical health, physical pain. It could be in the form of mental pain. It could be a pain inflicted by somebody else upon me, mental pain, psychological pain. Or it may be a pain which is inflicted upon by myself. I may not have control. So many physical diseases, disabilities over which I have no control. So many times somebody else may abuse me, physically abuse me, verbally abuse me. I may have no control over it. Doesn't mean I don't try to change it. I try to change it. Do whatever is possible to be done. Use all the options to see that, I'm out of that situation. But still, then it is possible that I may not be able to do anything. And in such a choiceless situation, sahanam apratikara purvakam. Apratikara purvakam means not with a sense of vengeance or revenge. Yes, I may get angry. I may feel hurt that I'm in this dukkha situation. But then apratikara purvakam. There is no question of pratikara. It is not that I want to get even with the situation outside. It is just that I cannot help it. I cannot do anything. In our transactions we may find it. In our profession we may find such a situation. In our family situations we may find. What do we do in such situations when nothing can be done? Apratikara purvakam. Yes, it is difficult for me. I cannot really stand this, but there is nothing I can do. I have to just bear with it. Forbearance or endurance, the capacity to endure choiceless situations in life. This is called as titiksha. And at the same time, Bhagwan Shankaracharya says, Chinta vilapa rahitam. How much can I worry about it? How much can I think about it? How much can I complain and cry about it? Chinta vilapa, vilapa. Okay, I may feel happy sharing my dukkha with other people. That is okay. It's okay once in a way. Yes, all of us need to share. But then vilapa, all all the time complaining about my dukkha. Whoever I see complain about my dukkha. All the time thinking about that dukkha. You, I am having this, you, I am having this is happening to me, this is happening to me. All the time thinking about that. The mind cannot think of anything else except this dukkha. 24 hours chinta, thinking of that. Vilapa, crying over it, complaining over it, talking to everybody about it, again and again and again for days together, months together, years together, in such a way that the others also cannot do anything about it, and the others will start avoiding us because they can't listen to the same complaint again and again. You can't do anything about it. I can't do anything. What can I do? You have already talked about it. You have already shared it. But talking about it again and again, crying over it, complaining over it, shouting over it, this is called as vilapa. What is titiksha? Chinta vilapa rahitam. Yes, I am unhappy. I am facing a dukkha situation. I am trying my best. I am praying. What is the ultimate thing there? Sahanam with prayer. That's all. I have to pray to the Lord that, oh Lord, please save me from this kind of a dukkha situation. Please release me from this kind of a dukkha. If it is got by my own sharira, please help me to do what I can. There are so many diseases like cancer, so many painful conditions of the body. There are so many painful relationships in this world which are all the time abusing another person. What can you do about it? Chinta vilaparahitam satitiksha nigidyate. That means in every situation, I am, all the time there. I know that I'm going through this, trying my best, but I keep a kind of a endurance and sahanam. Pray for it with prayerful attitude, with surrender to the Lord. I surrender my dukkha also to the Lord. Hey Lord, this is what I have got, this prarabdha. Not that I deserve it or I don't deserve it. This particular dukkha situation is my prarabdha. Maybe it is my prabala prarabdha. Nothing seems to help it. The only thing I can do is pray to you. The only thing I can do is surrender to you. Maybe only you can help me get out of this. This kind of a prayerful attitude and sahanam of any situation of choiceless situation in our lives, be it from the body, mind, sense complex, from myself or from the world or from the family members, from anybody. This kind of a forbearance is called as titiksha. That's why Bhagwan, what did Bhagwan Krishna say? Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada तान स्थितिक्षस्व भारत आगमा पाइनो anitya. No situation is permanent. It may last for days, weeks, it may last for years also. I may feel that my God, this is not permanent, agama pai. For last 20 years I am suffering this. Maybe another 10 years I may have to suffer it. Cannot help it. That is what it is. So ultimately it is tan titikshasva bharata, he said. They're all ultimately nothing can be permanent. Whatever the situation, it has started at a point in time, it has to end at a point in time, and therefore tan titikshasva bharata. Hey Arjuna, may you have that forbearance, the capacity to bear with choiceless situation. And for Arjuna, that war was a choiceless situation. Killing his near and dear ones, seeing the death of his near and dear ones was, choiceless situation. There is no question of chinta vilapa. You do whatever you have to do. Surrender to the Lord and do, and let there be forbearance. This is what is called as titiksha. Now we are coming to the next one, that is the fifth of the Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, what is called as Shraddha. What is Shraddha? Shraddha is not blind faith. Shraddha is having faith in Guru and Shastra Vakyas. The Shastra Vakya, our scriptures, they are telling me the truth. What they are telling is real, and what the Guru is trying to tell me using the Shastra is real. Iti, this kind of a trust in the Shastra and Guru is what is called as Shraddha. So what does he say in the 26th verse? Here he says, Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhyavadharana Sa Shraddha Katita Sadbhihi Yaya Vastupalabhyate. Shraddha in Shastra and Shraddha in Guru Vakya. Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhi Avadharana. That means what? There is Satyam, there is truth in what the Shastra, the scriptures are telling me, and there is truth in what the Guru is telling me. Yes, right now I don't understand. You must be, some people told me that it is very difficult. This thing, what you are talking about, Vivekachudamani, is very difficult. It is the initial book, it is the primer of Vedanta. Difficult not because we are incapable of understanding it, difficult because we don't have the preparation of the mind for it, and difficult because we have no patience to be with it for some time. Everything is difficult. Today if I have to walk 5 kilometers every day, it is difficult for me, it is definitely difficult. But then I have to pursue with it, I have to keep with it, I have to go along with it, and over a period of time it becomes easy. Similarly, exposing myself to Vedanta also is something like that. I may find that it is difficult for me to understand in the beginning because some of the terms I may not understand. The lingo, the language of Vedanta, I may not understand. What it is trying to tell me, I may not understand. At the same time, I may see lot of contradictions between one Upanishad and the other. I may see contradictions between one text and the other. But I know that right now, if I don't understand something, it is not because of the fault of the Shastra or the fault of the Guru. There is absolutely no fault in the Shastra or the Guru. At present, I am not able to really absorb and understand this. It requires a little bit of commitment from my side. It requires time from my side. It requires for me to be with the Shastra and the Guru. Attending a few classes of Vivekachudamani and saying that I don't understand it, I'm not going to continue. That's not going to help. Ultimately, if we are really interested in moksha, if we are mumukshus, we have to be with it. It doesn't matter Initially, there may be a difficulty in understanding, but then slowly, over a period of time, the more and more I get used to it because of constant exposure to the language, to the words of the Shastra, to the words of the Guru, it becomes slowly more and more palatable, more and more easy. This kind of a faith that if today I'm not able to understand, the problem is with me. The problem is not with the Shastra. The problem is not with the Guru. Let me continue to be with the Shastra and Guru. Doesn't matter. I may get bored for some time, but doesn't matter. What is my ultimate Purushartha? Moksha is my Purushartha. I want to be free from this. Therefore, I will do whatever it takes me to do. If I have to attend a class once in a week, I will do that. It does not matter if it takes me 20 classes to come to terms with what is being talked about. It doesn't matter. I will attend that. I will not back out from that. This kind of a commitment is what is called as Shraddha. So, Guru Vakyeshu Satya Buddhi, Satyatva Buddhi. Satyatva Buddhi means what they are training is true. I may not understand, but that doesn't mean that the Shastra is talking nonsense. It seems, somebody said, it seems some Westerner said that Upanishads are the ramblings of, juvenile minds of rishis. Can you imagine? Just because he did not understand what the Upanishads were talking about, he calls them the ramblings of rishis. I mean, you can just imagine how we come to a conclusion without our being capable of receiving what is said. I'm not at present receptive enough. I don't understand what is being talked about, but that does not give me a right to criticize the Shastra because I do not know how to receive it. The Guru is making his attempt, the Shastra is making its attempt, and every time there cannot be stories. Some people have complained to me, you don't tell any stories. Wherever the stories and examples are there, we can tell. In a text like Vivekachudamani, how can I think of, how can I kind of spin stories and tell? This is a serious matter. This is sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. And whatever examples we can give, we can give. Like whatever I gave examples for Shamadama. But every time in every session, we cannot be talking about stories. These are not parables. This is not a dharma class or a niti class. This is Vivek Chudamani. This is a Vedanta session. And so having trust that what the Shastra and what the Guru are saying is real, at present I am not able to understand. This particular Shraddha, this particular commitment in knowing and understanding and being with the Shastra and the Guru Vakya, this is what is called as Shraddha. Sa Shraddha Kathita Sadbhihi. All the rishis, all the Satpurushas, all the Jnanis say that this is called as Shraddha. If a Jnani is a Jnani today, it is because of this Shraddha. If there is no Shraddha, what is the use of, our Viveka and Vairagya? Viveka is there, Vairagya is there, then it becomes a Shushka Vairagya. It is a Vairagya which has not given rise to what it has to give. Viveka and Vairagya have to give me this knowledge, and this knowledge can be had only by exposing this intellect to Shastra and Guru Vakya. And the most important thing is to have Shraddha over Shastra and Guru Vakya and Vastu Upalabdhaye, to get that knowledge of that Brahman or that Vastu. It is absolutely necessary to have this Shraddha, because this Vastu, this Brahman is being talked about only in the Shastra. Nowhere else anything about this Atma Jnanam is being talked about. Atma, Brahman, what is this Atma? What is this Brahman? Is it one and the same? Who am I? What is this Jagat? What is God? This is being talked about only in Vedanta, only in our scriptures. So, Vastu Upalabdhaye, to understand this, to understand what this Atma means, what this Atma Jnana is, for the Upalabdhi, for getting the knowledge of this Atman or Brahman, Shraddha is absolutely important. And Shraddha does not mean just a one time thing. Oh, I have got, enough of Shraddha, and, therefore, it doesn't matter. And once or twice I listen to the Guru and Shastra, that is not enough. Being with it, continuing to be with it, that is what is called as Shraddha. So Shraddha, of the 6 subsidiary disciplines of the third one. What is the third one? Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. We saw Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, and Shraddha. The last one, the sixth subdivision of the third main division is what is called as the, Samadhanam. What is Samadhanam? That is going to be talked about in the 27th verse. So what does he say? Sarvada stapanam buddhehe shuddhe brahmani sarvatha tat samadhanamityuktam natu chittasya lalanam. Samadhana, samadhi or samadhanam, samahita chittaha, which was explained by Bhagwan Krishna. Samahita chittaha. What is the meaning of this? That means the mind is focused on the object of what I have to learn. What is my object of knowledge now? What is it that I want to know about? What I want to know about is Brahman or Atma. So, trying to focus my mind, one pointed focus of the mind on whatever I have to know. Sarvada sthapanam buddhehe. Buddhehe. The intellect is concentrated, focused upon what? Shuddhe Brahmani Sarvatha. From all sides, I withdraw the mind, the intellect, the mind, and the sense organs are focused on knowing this Brahman, Brahmani, in Brahman. What is Brahman? Atma or Brahman, that's the object of my knowledge. Right now, I don't know what it is. I don't know what this Brahman is, but I have got Shraddha in the Shastra and Guru that I am going to learn about this Brahman, and knowing and learning about this Atma and Brahman ultimately is going to free me from this samsara. This particular Shraddha, with this Shraddha, I focus my intellect, I focus my mind on the object of my knowledge. So, Sarvada Sthapanam Buddhehe Shuddhe Brahmani Sarvata Tat Samadhanam Ityuktam. Focusing the mind on the object of my knowledge is called as Samadhana. When I focus on physics to learn something in physics, it is Samadhana. When I focus on music or dance to learn something that the teacher is teaching me, that is Samadhana. Whatever is the object of my knowledge, on that particular thing, I try to focus and concentrate upon. And to focus and concentrate, what do I need? The preparations here, Viveka, Vairagya are necessary. And what did Bhagwan Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Karma Yoga, Chitta Shuddhi, Karma Yogena Chitta Shuddhi, and Upasana Yogena Chitta Naischalyam. Chitta Naischalyam means what? One pointed focus and concentration on the object of my knowledge. This is called as Samadhana. With this, we have completed the three of the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. What? Viveka, Vairagya, and Shamadhi Shatka sampatti. Now the last one is there, main four. What is that? Viveka or discrimination, Vairagya or dispassion, Shamadhi Shatka sampatti or internal discipline, which had six subdivisions in it, which we saw one after another. The last one of the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is called as what? Mumukshutvam. So what is this mumukshutvam? Ultimately, here 28th verse, mumukshutvam is talked about. Mumukshutvam means desire for freedom. I have viveka, I have vairagya, I have discipline, but I have no desire for moksha. I don't want moksha. I'm not interested in moksha. I'm very happy in life. I'm very disciplined in life. I go for a walk every day. I take care of my health. I'm very well disciplined. And I have got control over my mind and sense organs, but I'm not interested in moksha. I'm living an ethical life. It's not. So, for such people, it is not necessary. But if I have felt the need for freedom from samsara, Viveka and Vairagya are incomplete. Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti is incomplete without Mumukshutvam. So Bhagwan Shankaracharya in the same Vivekachudamani in another verse says, Mumukshutvam is the main of the sadhana chatushtaya. Because unless you are interested in something, you will not try to go for it. So I am interested in moksha. I want moksha. This desire for moksha is called as mumukshutvam. So he says, ahankaradi dehantan bandhan ajnana kalpitan swaswarupavabodhena moktum ichha mumukshuta. From my identification with the body, mind, sense complex, and ahankara, which we saw already in Bhagavad Gita, that I'm all the time engrossed and entangled, and I always identify myself with the anatma body, mind, sense complex. And that is what is giving me all the dukkha iti by Viveka, I have understood. Now I want freedom from that entanglement with the body mind sense complex. This freedom from the entanglement of this body mind sense complex, the desire to be free from this is called as mumukshuta. So ahankaradi dehantan bandhan, the body binds me, the restriction of with age, with disease, with death, this body binds me. The mind binds me with all its emotions, with all its dukkha and sukha. The intellect binds me because it I don't know so many things which anybody knows, other people know. So the body mind sense complex are bandha karakas. So bandhan, how the bandha is caused? Ajnana kalpitan, because of my identification, wrong identification, out of ajnana, I think that I am the body mind sense complex, which we have discussed in detail in Bhagavad Gita. This is what is causing me what? This is causing me the bandha. Bandha means what? This bondage. I feel I am as limited as the body, mind, sense complex. So this has caused me the bandha. This bandha which is caused, I want to be free from that. This desire, swasvarupa avabodhena, by knowing my true nature. I want to know who am I? What have I come here for? From where have I come? What is my real nature? What is it that by knowing which I can be free from this dukkha which I am facing day in and day out? This particular desire to be free from knowing my true nature, swaswarupa avabodhena moktum icha ahankaradi dehantan bandhan ajnana kalpitan moktum icha, trying to get free from this delusion created bondage with the body mind sense complex. I want to be free from that. How do I get free from that? By understanding my swaswarupa, swaswarupa avabodhena. By understanding my swaswarupa, I can get free from this is what is called as the mumuksha, that is mumukshutvam or mumuksha. So we have got what? Four sadhana chatushtaya sampattis. Now let us understand one thing, that all these four are not, they are explained serially, but then all the four of them have to go together. Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadhi, Shatka, Sampatti, Mumukshita, all of them strengthen each other. All of them are together. We cannot wait for some time with only Viveka, sometimes with only Vairagya. No, all of them we have to be together. And one more thing, that always many people feel, if I'm not really prepared with for this, if this preparation sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is not there, I'm not having it right now, then why should I expose myself to Vedanta? Why should I study Vedanta? This is a question which is commonly asked by people. I'm not prepared. I myself know. I don't have Shama. I don't have Dama, Uparama, Titiksha. I don't have. I don't have Viveka. I don't have Vairagya. Does it mean that I'm not fit for this? No. What it means is, let there be sufficient amount of sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, and I have to expose myself to the Shastra and Guru Vakya. And the more and more I come in contact with the Guru Vakya and Shastra, my sadhana chatushtaya sampatti will also go on increasing. Therefore, one need not wait forever, because 100% sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is not possible for anybody. It is not possible. The mind is going to be mind, the sense organs are going to be sense organs. 100% viveka, 100% vairagya is not possible. So if we wait for 100% of sadhana chatushtaya sampatti to happen in all these four, 3 plus 4, then in that 4 we have 6, shamadhi shaka 6, so totally 9. Till I have 100% of these 9 qualifications, if I wait, that time will never come. Sufficient enough. I have sufficient viveka to understand, well, I am right now emotionally so dependent on the objects of the world. That is not good for me. There is something which our scriptures say, which is permanent, which is called as Brahman. Let me know what it is. This much Viveka is enough. Vairagya. At least at the time of listening to the Guru and Shastra, let there be dispassion from other things. There need not be 24 hours Vairagya is not possible. 24 hours Viveka is not possible. It may be possible in a Jnani, the one who has already attained moksha, it is possible. But for people like us, if we wait for sadhana chatushtaya sampatti to be in full form 100%, we will never come to Vedanta. What it means is that all these four are mentioned here or talked about here because we can alertfully try to inculcate this sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, and at the same time go to a guru and expose my intellect to this jnanam. The more and more I get into Vedanta Shravanam, my sadhana chatushtaya sampatti also becomes more and more deep. The deeper the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti becomes, my understanding of the Shastra becomes also more and more. Shraddha becomes more, Samadhana becomes more. Therefore, if any of us feel that I don't have sufficient sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, therefore I am not fit for Vedanta, no, it is not true. Vedanta is not a patent of any particular person. Every one of us is an adhikari to Vedanta. And because ultimately that is what ultimately frees us. But at the same time, we should have the alertness, we should have the capacity to, you know, get these kind of values that are being talked about. In Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagwan Krishna talked about amanitvadi values. Daivi Sampatti, which has to be inculcated, Asuri Sampatti, which has to be given up. Why did he talk about it? He was telling Arjuna about all this. At the same time, he was giving this knowledge also to him. Therefore, we need not wait for Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti or Viveka Vairagya and Mumukshutvam to be 100%. It is not possible. There is nothing called as a perfect student of Vedanta, because our mind and sense organs are all the time there. Imperfection is there. As a human being, I can never be 100% perfect. Even a jnani will have his or her own weaknesses. Doesn't matter. With our weaknesses, with our little bit of sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, with alertfulness, let us expose our intellects to Vedanta Vakyas, to the Shruti Vakyas, to the Guru, and see that the listening of Vedanta and at the same time sadhana chatushtaya sampatti will try to strengthen each other. If nothing, at least Vedanta shravanam will give me punya. Didn't Bhagwan Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita, even those who casually listen to Bhagavad Gita get punya lokas, as punya after death they go to higher lokas. Mere listening, casual listening of Bhagavad Gita, he said, that is the phalam which is there. Therefore, I'm not saying that one should casually listen to Vedanta. No, one has to be serious enough in listening to Vedanta. But then one need not wait for 100% perfection in sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Sufficient enough sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. I have sufficient amount of viveka, sufficient amount of vairagya. I've got sufficient amount of discipline. At least I can sit for 2 to 3 hours in a day and listen to the Guru Vakya, study the Shastra. That much if I have got, then slowly over a period of time, they strengthen each other. And so every one of us is an adhikari, and every one of us can be a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikari. What it requires from our part is alertful living and trying to be alert in inculcating these values of viveka vairagya in every transaction of ours. It everything that I do, in every small transaction also, I have this alertness with what viveka I am doing this transaction, how dependent psychologically I am, how dependent emotionally I am on people around me, how dependent I am on the family. Dependent means emotionally dependent. Physically one cannot live without, other people, without the world. We are not talking about physical dependence here. Vedanta talks about getting rid of emotional psychological dependence and abiding oneself in the atmasvarupa, and that all of us are fit for. And for this, what should we do? We should go to a guru. We cannot study the Shastra independently. With sufficient enough of Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, what should I go for this knowledge? I have to go to a guru and ask for this knowledge. And how to go to a guru? Who's this guru? How I go and ask for this knowledge? We'll see it in the next session. ॐ नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.